National Online Faculty Development Program. The Unlock Down Challenges and Opportunities in Business Post-COVID. Thank you all for your zealous participation. I'm extremely delighted to welcome the India's pride, fondly called as the Space Queen of India, Dr.SRIMATHY KESAN, the founder and CEO of a leading science and technology incubator. Sorry for the technical inconvenience. Driven with a mission to disrupt the routine of Indian education system, has brought in a hitherto unexplored avenue called space education. Through her unique program aimed at grooming India's future scientists. She is the only Indian to be honored with the ambassador status to the top three space centers of the world, NASA, ESA, and GCTC Moscow. Through Space Kidz India, launched in 2011, she takes children to these research centers for, for hands-on space training on rocket handling and launching techniques, satellite making, etc. Apart from these, she has also invited cosmonauts Sarihan Shariko, director of Yuri Gagarin Space Center, Moscow, astronaut Marsha Ivins, NASA, retired wing commander Rakesh Sharma, the first Indian cosmonaut to reach space to motivate and share the space travel experience with Indian students. Creating young scientists and young leaders for the country is her main motto, for which she organizes annual contests, a unique avenue to promote innovations in the field of science and technology for high schools and university students to handpick the core team of young scientists who are then mentored, funded to create path-breaking life projects. Building and launching satellites for high schools and university students was a dream which came true in the year 2015, where her SKI team of young scientists built and launched the first ever near space launch vehicle, NSLV, a balloon satellite that was flown to stratosphere 107,000 feet and created numerous records. Subsequently, they have been successful in launching 9 NSLVs from different parts of India. Highly accoladed for this unique idea, several universities have collaborated with SKI to launch their satellites. Her ultimate goal is to lay the foundation for a world-renowned space university with manufacturing port in India. Apart from space education, she is also devoted to promoting education through culture. In this regard, Space Kidz India created history during the 2012 Olympics by becoming the first cultural unit selected from a prestigious list of 22,000 artists to perform at the London Olympics. Dr. Srimathy is also a voracious social activist. Through social awareness theme, she educates the future generation of India on several social issues that plague the society. SKI produced a short film on breast cancer and a music video on female foeticide, which received great acclaim. She actively supports several juvenile homes in the city of Chennai through constant counseling and motivational speeches to improve their mental condition and self-esteem. Her passion for education has recently enabled her to adopt a school in Chennai that is in dire need of basic amenities by collaborating with various NGOs from around the world to procure proper sanitary conditions and day-to-day needs for the school. Before I could read her list of awards, I would like to mention her exemplary achievements since her school days. She is an all-rounder at the school and college and was awarded the all-round best cadet of Andhra Pradesh in NCC and served as a senior under officer representing the prestigious Prime Minister's rally at Delhi Republic Day. In sports, she has bagged many trophies in basketball, shot put, javelin, and badminton, representing at national and state level. She has endless list of awards to her credit. To name a few, she is a recipient of Golden Disc Award from Indian Books of Record, World Record Union, Mayan Awards by Vista India by Dr. Kiran Bedi, Abdul Kalam Award for Science and Technology, Women Icon 2017 by Berg, Most Inspiring Innovative Entrepreneur Award by CISA, South Indian Startup Awards, Best Social Entrepreneur Award 2019 by FICCI, Enterprising Women Entrepreneur Award by the Ministry of Small and Micro Medium Enterprises, Young Women Achiever by the Guild of Women Achievers, Pride of India 2006 awarded by CNBC, Seventh World Education Award 2016 in the category Innovative in Pedagogy Learning awarded by ELETS. Center for Media and Public Affairs announces Space Kids India as the outstanding institution of the year in promoting the children's education. She has also presented papers at multiple international conferences and have won accolades. We are extremely fortunate, ma'am, to have you amidst us for today's session. We have a small audio video presentation on our resource person, followed by an interview moderated by Ms. Sendamare, the co-founder of Beta Monks Factory Private Limited. I request the participants to post their Q&A in the Q&A box during the session and the comments in the comments in the chat box. Thank you. Over to Sendamare.
Okay, so that is our very own Space Queen of India, India's pride, the most versatile woman.
When you put on the surface,
Okay, 1 minute.
new L'Oreal Paris Crystal.
It happens. Technology, right? Okay, so Srimati KESAN, she is the most versatile woman in our country. Okay, it is our honor to have you today with us, Srimati KESAN. Thank you so much for your time. And in fact, the last 2 days, we had been talking to successful women entrepreneurs who had come here and shared their life and business lessons with us. Basically, their secret recipe, and it was great learning for us and also the participants. So, Srimati, your life journey is an inspiration for so many women out there. Because as a woman, thinking about a career or maybe about starting a business after marriage is such a dream, and your life journey is full of that. So, thank you so much for being here. And I would like to start today's discussion with very important aspect. How did you venture into entrepreneurship, Srimati?
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. I know women have so many tasks when they are at home, especially lockdown, no lockdown. Everybody's hands are always full. And in spite of all of that, coming and joining here is something amazing. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Senta. Thank you so much for having me here. And thank you, the great, wonderful lady who actually gave a lovely introduction. So honored to be here. Well, answering your first question. I feel entrepreneurship is a grain that is well seeded within every woman. It is just that how we bring it out, how we nurture that, and at what point of life that exactly comes out with the monetary benefits and with identity of your own. Well, I had a 16 years sabbatical after my wedding. So after a 16 years sabbatical, it was like, you must be knowing South Indian women, it's so hard to take that first step, after your wedding and come out, However, you may be whatever talented, but to come out and take that first step means a lot. So it took 16 years for me. Well, in these 16 years, without the knowledge of my family, I have, choreographed about 56 shows. I have lent my voice for documentaries and ad films. And, anything, what do I say? Nothing of this was known to the family. That was the most funny part. I was designing clothes, and I hosted a couple of shows, and everybody must be wondering, how come the family didn't know? Well, that's the escape route. When the husband is in the office and when the child is at school, you get to do all these things and come back. And one day, fate, I was caught, and that's it. I was back home. But never did I deter, that never put me back, because I always felt Srimati was born for a purpose. It's not that I was born just to be tagged as Mrs. Srimati or a mother of Tanya. No, there is something beyond. So what is that something beyond? And the calling came after 16 years. And today I'm here doing all these things.
That's a wonderful journey, Srimati. Entrepreneurship is fine, but getting the idea of setting up an institution which will promote science, that was space science. How did you get that idea?
Well, standing outside the schools, it is always the mothers have these conversations. Oh, I am going to, I'm going to ask my child to get into IIT. I want my child to be a doctor, a lawyer. None of them actually spoke about, getting their child to be a scientist. And that really wondered me, because I was actually, if I have to go back, I wanted to be an armed medical forces doctor, a doctor in the armed medical forces. Then, okay, that story will come later. But nothing of that happened, and I jumped into BCom because I was a national basketball player in an NCC. So it was very difficult for me to get into medicine. And that's why I chose commerce. But that science was always there within me. And I always felt a country like India with such vast culture and such vast things around, why aren't we tapping on, okay, somebody wants me to be louder. Let me get the, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So I thought probably we need to do more of selling rather than buying from different countries, which means to say we need to export rather than import. When would this happen? This would happen only when there is innovation in the country. How would the innovation happen? Right from schools and colleges, if we are able to nurture children in a creative and innovative manner, rather than making them robots and just running through the pages of the textbooks. So this was one, but I'm not going to say that this is why I started Space Kids. No, destiny actually put me through. You know, after 16 years of sabbatical, a friend of mine comes up and she says, what are you doing with your life? And she pulls me, she sends me to a conference in Miami. Of course, I get permission from home just 6 hours before the flight. You know, that was the most challenging one. And I think that day created a different path for me. And the day I stepped into Miami, I said, yes, now God has opened the doors for me. I am not going to go and sit back home and just do the routine. I am going to continue to do something different. And when I got back, I was given the ambassador. I had a couple of meetings with the NASA, what do I say? The organizational heads there, and they were pretty impressed. And they said, okay, we want children from India. So we're very happy that if you can take on this. And I was given the ambassador status, the first ever time an Indian being given an ambassador status to NASA. And I started taking children there. And while taking children there, I started learning things. I started learning things about rocketry, about satellite making, launching, everything. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not even an engineer. I am just a commerce student who got married before even I completed my commerce. Before even I completed my BCom, I got married. But I went on, and this doctorate was itching in my mind. I wanted to do doctorate. I wanted to be called the doctor. So what I did, the 16th year bug, when I came out, then I pursued my master's. I did MBA. And after that, after about 3 years or 4 years, I should say, continuously, when I started taking children to NASA, I've taken about 1,500 children to NASA until now. And the consulate, the economic firms of the United States, they were very, very impressed by me. And they have honored me at Washington, D.C. And with all these accolades, a university in the United States came forward and they said, you have improved you have given a financial district, Florida, to be a financial district, and you play a huge role. So we want to honor you with a doctorate. And that's how, that came in. And from there on, what happened? I thought, this is the way where I can create young scientists. And these are the kids whom I'm going to nurture them, and I'm going to start molding them into scientists. And that's where Space Kids India was born.
Amazing journey. Just really a goosebumps moment, Srimathy. Okay.
So many things.
Okay, from taking kids to space tour to making the smallest satellites in the world, I'm sure this is a long journey. How did that happen?
When I was consistently taking children there to NASA, I could see the enthusiasm in children. I was just seeing that, you give them a platform, they will rock. It is just that Indians, what we do is, you don't know. Any child asks anything, the first thing is, no, you can't, you wouldn't be able to. So that no negativity was a push. I thought, why not give them an opportunity? Rather than bringing the children from India to the United States, showing them this and getting back, why not we make a satellite, launch a satellite, and, because high altitude ballooning was very popular in the West. And we thought, let's take baby step. Let's do the high altitude ballooning first. But what happened back in India was I had to take a lot of permissions, and that was not happening. If you say satellite, only ISRO could launch satellites. Private organizations cannot launch a satellite, think of launching a satellite. So what we tweaked the name as high altitude ballooning, and we had to go up to the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So until that, you had like a tail of permissions to be taken. And so I'd taken all the permissions, and it took me a good 3 months. But then we launched it the first ever time. And that too, I had 5 monkeys in my team. Sorry, 6 monkeys in my team, 6 boys. And I was the 7th monkey, the youngest of the lot, because that's how the scientists branded us. When we went to ISRO to give our proposal the first time, the scientists they asked me, like, where is your team? I said, yes, just a moment, I'll bring the team in. And they were all like, 1, 2, 3, they just went in the descending order in the height. And they were like, what? Is this your team? I said, yes, sir. They said, go study, do your master's, PhD, and then come, we'll give you. I was like, oh my God, why is this system like this? Why do you have to do only a master's and PhD and then plunge into hands-on activities? No, I am going to create some difference. So then fought with the system, got the permissions, and I'm a lone soul. No support system and all that, and no pull push, nothing at all. But it's just the grit and determination to do something, and divinity, I would say. So God was just there, and he thought probably this was the right thing to do. So he gave me all the energy. I went on to fight and got this permission in 2015, August 23rd, we launched the first balloon satellite. And that turned the faces all across the globe, I got calls from the United States, from Italian, everywhere. All the aerospace companies called and congratulated, because it's not an easy task, the high altitude ballooning, and especially with children, and especially tracking and retrieving the payload is not an easy task. So they were all appreciative. And one aerospace industry from the United States, they offered us to make a payload in the sense one satellite that they would send in a suborbital flight, in a reusable rocket, suborbital. We were so excited. So we made the satellite, and Indians, right? One small dabba, you want to fix everything in that if you are given a free opportunity. So then we had 27 sensors in a 1 kg payload, and we shipped it. So sorry, guys, please bear with me. This is a little long story, so please bear with me. What happened was that day, after we shipped the satellite, kids were like, we want gulab jamun. Kids in a sense, they were all only about 16 to 18 years. That was the age category. And they were all like, we want gulab jamun, mama. See, you are the mission director and you're the mom. So you need to play the balance between both the roles. I was there with them throughout and making the satellite. And again, now they want me to get into the kitchen. No other go. When kids ask, you cannot say no. So I made gulab jamuns. While having the gulab jamuns, my lead scientist, the youngest of the lot, 16 years, Rifat Shahrukh, he and Kasif, he was in the first year of his graduation, Kasif. Both of them were looking at the gulab jamun, and they were like, man, how I wish, we could make a satellite as small as a gulab jamun. And, it'll be so nice. We don't need to pay so much, because launching a satellite costs anywhere between $80,000 to $1 lakh. One small satellite. And we didn't have the money. So necessity, mother of invention. We thought we'll invent the gulab jamun sat. And that's how you just wouldn't believe, you have to just experience that. In the next 2 days, we had a news from NASA that a competition has been announced, and you need to make a payload, which is 64 grams, and 3.8 centimeter box will be sent to you. If your proposal is interesting, then your scientific experiment will go up the NASA's rocket free of cost.
Wow. Okay.
What more do you need? You know, that totally made us go mad. We worked almost 3.5 to 4 months. We worked all through the whole night. And then the result was the world's lightest. This is the shell. This is the world's lightest and first ever 3D printed satellite. This is just the outer structure.
Okay. Okay.
So this is what. And from there on,
Amazing.
it was never ending. So after that, we were like almost, you know, the first time when we spoke about this to media, we are not a media people, you know, so no contacts also. But my kids were like, you know, getting selected to NASA is something huge. And this was the first ever satellite from India, student satellite from India going into NASA's rocket. So my kids were like, let's call for a press conference and let's announce it. I said, the things we don't know, we shouldn't be doing. They are like, no, ma'am, let's do it. Let's do it. We went on, we invited the press over. You wouldn't believe there was conference, but there was no press, which means to say we were there. We just had 2 cameras, no press people, because that day ADMK had some major shift and people rushed there. So it was funny. But after that, you wouldn't believe 900 media covered us across the globe. We had History Channel, we had a French channel, a Korean channel, and a channel from the United States. They came here, they stayed with us for 2-3 days, and they shot the entire journey because they felt this was amazing. And it was something for the children to know their inner talent. And if there is a platform, they can definitely do it. And age is no barrier for any innovation. So they were all impressed, and you wouldn't believe this Gulab Jamun to the Stars was written by Mr. Srinivas Lakshman. You know R.K. Lakshman, right? The famous Malgudi days. So his son was so inspired. He's the senior most journalist, space journalist of India. He had come over, stayed with us, and then wrote about us in a book. Forbes magazine had covered us. So it's on and on and on and on and on. When you win, you know how it is. When you're still in the beginning stage, you had to actually face the ramp.
You know, but when we walk through the journey, it is really amazing.
Oh my God. But this was not the end. This was a suborbital launch, but we had to launch it in the orbit so that whenever you see up, one of, you know, our baby is there up in the sky. You won't believe, similarly, on 20th of December 2018, I was in the studios of Doordarshan, and I was answering the anchor. The last question was, what's your next project? You've launched through NASA. When are you going to launch through ISRO? I said, fingers crossed, we've been praying. Hopefully we get an opportunity and all that. I come out of the studio. A week later, exactly, I get a call from ISRO. They said, come over January 9th, 2019. Give us a presentation about your satellite. I was so happy. I went to Bangalore. I gave a presentation. And they are like, well, Dr. KESAN, get your team tomorrow to Bangalore. We want to have a team discussion. And if you guys can make a satellite in 6 days, we are going to be launching your satellite in our PSLV C-44.
Wow.
I froze, literally froze. Aircon was so high, but I was sweating because people whom you adore, you know, the greatest scientists are all right in front of you. You know, you just read about them in Google, but everybody's sitting right in front of you and they are telling, you can do it. Madam, you'll be the first woman to do it in the country. Please do it. And I'm like, oh my God, 6 days. And that too, you won't believe, we had Shankranti that time. You know, in South India, how difficult it is to do anything during that time. 1 week of lockdown, complete lockdown. But then I think if destiny decides and if God decides that, you know, this has to go, it did go. I actually flew somebody to the US to get some sensors, to Dubai to get some sensors, because we wanted to make this happen. And 24th January, this satellite of ours went into the PSLV C-44, where India was trying on the 4th stage. They actually clamped this, and that was the very first time that India was trying to do something like this. And our satellite is still there up in the sky. I think I spoke a lot. I'm sorry, Senta. It goes on.
No. You're speaking from the heart, and so much of things covered. It is really a pride listening to you, and I'm sure even the participants are enjoying. I can see the comments over there. So
forgive me if it is a long
absolutely
story.
fine. Absolutely fine. In fact, it's our pleasure. She just continue with the momentum. You are the only women in the aerospace industry. Okay, it is a pride for the country. And for yourself and also for the country. But as an entrepreneur, what is the kind of challenges you faced, and especially as a woman, was there an exception? Was there any other extra challenges you had to go through?
I think most of the places I keep telling, please don't ask me that question, because it's so saddening when you think of all the challenges when you face. And most of the places, what I say is just shrug it off, because no pain, no gain. And being a woman, and especially in a scientific place where you're not a scientist, neither are you an engineer, you just have brickbats everywhere. People just think that a commerce student is only fit to sit in a bank, or fit to sit in as an accounts person in any office. You're not fit to do any other thing. But whereas I wanted to break that myth, and I wanted to tell people, in spite of being a commerce student, if you have the grit and determination to learn something, I think you can do it. And professors who've been in the aerospace industry for 30 years, 40 years, have given me various tags. They say who is that? How can she do this, that? But today they take autographs. But if I had broken that day, if I had fallen that day, then I couldn't have come onto this stage. Because I know that Indian kids are absolutely creative and very, very enthusiastic in doing something very innovative. They are seldom given an opportunity. So what? It's okay. Let me bear that. Financial crisis is another huge crisis, because my family was not very happy that I went out to do all this. They are not, mean-minded. I wouldn't call my husband mean-minded, sorry, but the brought up is like that, no woman goes out. Why are you sending your wife out? That kind of, so it's like those 10 people who will question you, people are so worried about that in India. They're not worried, but worried about the talent of the wife. So that where I had challenges. So whatever money that I had with me, from 1 lakh, my husband was a voracious traveler, so he took me all around the world. That helped me to set up a travel, boutique. What I did was, I didn't have a board or anything, but then all my friends would travel through me, because I understood the places. I would explain to them, and I could do the ticketing, and I could do the hotel and everything. I learned that industry also, because I thought that money could be pumped in for my research. And I didn't want to get into a loan. But only thing was, my brother had given me about 10 lakh rupees as an initial commitment, where I could set up the office and everything. Well, I returned to him though. I should make that as a point. So I'm so happy that, that initial, the support that he had given me with regards to the office. And 2012, I was running the office from home for 2 years. And 2012, I set up my own office. So financial challenge, emotional challenge, and people coming home because they are used to seeing you at home. 24 hours you're there at home. So suddenly when you're not at home, that creates,
Mm-hmm.
And luckily my daughter was very understanding, And she saw the entrepreneur in me, and she was like, good mama, I want you to do, more and more. So she wouldn't complain of anything. But whatever said and done, you need to work 20 hours a day. Out of the 24 hours, if you worked 20 hours without complaining, then you will succeed. And that's how I've done.
That hard work is very clear seen, because you are your brand. The brand value is like so well established, and now everybody knows Space Kids India, especially hearing it from our Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala ma'am. It's such a huge honor. I think Renika was talking about the list of awards what you have received, and I know you so well. But I think this is the biggest recognition anybody can even think of, right? Recently.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Not only that, Center, it was very touchy when Oxford University called me last year, and they had asked me to send a thesis about what we have done with the satellite and everything. And they've given me a title, honorary in the name of science. The name of science by Socrates Committee. That's the biggest award in the Oxford. And they have awarded that, and I'm like so touched, so touched. Your hard work is paid, really. And especially when you have to deal with NASA and ESA, the timings are very critical. Everybody would sleep. I would walk like a cat, come out, go to another room. And, my God, from 16 years of being thoroughly a mother and a wife to come out, it's very, very difficult. I didn't know how to, even my communication lagged. My English was terrible. I forgot how to write. And formal letters, no, I couldn't do. But in spite of that, something was saying that I could do. To get, the first trip, I remember when I had to take about 108 children to NASA, when I had to make 100 passports, I had to go to the passport officer straight away. I just get into a room and I just talk to him. I tell him, you have to give it, our Indian children are the best. I don't even know what I spoke, but he was looking at me and he was smiling as though one kid was talking and he was enjoying. And after 5 minutes, he was like, I don't know what you spoke, but it was very emotional. What do you need? I said, I need passports. I will give it. For 58 students in 3 days, we got the passports. And similarly, the US visa, everybody knows how difficult it is. And they opened a separate counter for us.
Wow.
The Consul General appreciated the whole project. He was so happy. He said, you guys are coming over to my country, and that too for this camp. I am definitely going to stand by you. So that way, probably when you keep asking and throwing things to the universe conspires, and everything positive around you comes in spite of all the negativity. If you just look at the positivity, I think you can just trample like an elephant and keep walking everywhere. Well, I am the size of an elephant though. So
I think that is the biggest lesson. If you do anything with passion, I think the hard work, everything it pays off. No wonder we call you, or people call you, India's pride. You are really India's pride.
Thank you so much, Santa.
Talking about all your awards and recognitions, I think one thing which will stand out is Dr. Abdul Kalam's award. You were named, you were given that award for science. How do you feel about it? How did that happen? I think I will pressure that it's a great honor.
Absolutely. I always feel very small when I look at all their pictures, very, very small. What hard work those people have done. What an impact they have created for India everywhere across the globe. What have you done? What have you done? Not even a minuscule, and still you've been awarded with Abdul Kalam, award, that too, for science and technology. Oh my God, that's an amazing feel, Senta, seriously. But one thing I would like to say, my mother hailed from Ramanathapuram. So when I was born in that small town. My dad was from Hyderabad. So, but the women go for their first delivery to their mother's place. And so I was born in Ramanathapuram, which is just about 20 kilometers from where Dr. Abdul Kalam was born. So it's a great pride. I thought probably that wind just blew, and came to Ramanathapuram and said, I will not be there in the physical presence. So you take it over. In fact, couple of media write-ups, they address me as Lady Kalam.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, please don't do that. That's too much to handle. Don't. They said, no, ma'am, seriously, Lady Kalam, you are just taking the torch, and because torch and moving, so we have to address you that way. I said, no. His blessings are more than enough, We walk that path. That's it.
No, it is so very true. I think you truly deserve such an honor. So, 9, I think, if I'm not wrong, 9 balloon launches, 2 suborbital launch, and making one world's smallest and lightest satellite. What next for Space Kids India?
In fact, we've completed 13 balloon satellites now.
Oh, is it? Amazing. Amazing.
And the latest one actually fell in the ocean, and we picked it up from there. So ISRO was so happy and complimenting us for that, And the next is we want to build the world's lightest rocket. So hopefully from satellite, we move on to making rockets.
I'm sure you're going to.
And again, it's all with children. 16 years until 22 years.
Since we have talked about children, kids, team, maybe a little bit more on the team aspect. See, I know you're young at heart, but there is a generation gap. I mean, the children whom you work with, they are 16 to 18, not more than 18 years. How do you handle them? How do you cascade your vision to the children? And how do you get them, understand what you want and what is that you want to achieve? How do you get them?
It's like, the lead scientist, Rifat Shahrukh, is a mirror image of me. I should say he's a non-biological son of me, because both of us have similar tastes, similar thoughts, and similar madness. So for me, it was easy to drive things because what I mentioned reflected back to me. So it was very easy with him. But the rest of the team, each one was a brat. And this generation, you have single child or maximum 2 children in a family. So most of these kids were single children. So each one has had an attitude. And each one belonged to different places. One came from Tirupati, one came from Nalgonda, one came from Pallapatti, one came from Sivagasi. So, and various backgrounds also. So, in spite of all that, one thing that's common is love. The love not only for brotherhood, but the love and passion towards the subject. And they wanted to deliver this particular challenge. You throw them the challenge and they wanted to deliver that. Of course, in between, they throw tantrums. Oh, I'm so tired. I can't do this. This one has to do that. That one has to do, but still you pamper them. You don't shoo them away when they ask questions. And they have, the best part was, they have seen me get hurt and embarrassed. People in very high positions, I wouldn't want to name any of them, they have really embarrassed me in front of my kids. So that they have taken that as a challenge. In our first balloon challenge, people just shooed us away and they said, you cannot do this, you will not succeed, please go away. They took that as a challenge. How can they tell this to my mama? My mama is the best. So that way, that one incident made a lot of change in each of them. So talking to them, my hours of sleep is only 2 or 3 hours, because basically our conversation starts at 11 in the night and completes at 5 in the morning, because you have to keep talking to them. You have to be their girlfriend, because everybody is our boys. None of them, I'm the only girl in the team. So you have to be their girlfriend also, because they're all growing. Mustache is coming little. So, the hormonal changes are also there. So you need to know how to exactly handle a child at what time, what pressure, family pressures, so many things, So you have to be balanced, caring, understanding, and feed the emotional and psychological quotient of theirs. You assimilate all the energy of theirs and feed in and give it back to them. So I think it was a pretty easy journey for me because I love children.
I know we have a lot of faculties. I mean, they are the participants. So since we have spoken about children, how do you? I mean, so many people come to you, so many children come to you. How do you identify the talent? Saying this is the right talent, and how do you mentor them? Because that will be very useful for the faculties.
See, you need to spend some time with every child. You cannot just throw a problem and see if that child comes back with that. What happens is here, when I select the team, we run this competition called Young Scientist India. So during that period, what I do is I individually go through the thesis of all the children. There, what you would understand is the language that every child is used and the way of presentation. We can easily identify whether this is a student project or a teacher's project. So children who've really done that, I kind of pick that and segregate that and talk to each child. Give them a subject of topic of conversation. I interact with them at least for 1 or 2 months and then handpick them. So this is how I pick my team.
Okay. So what is the advice you can give to the faculty since they are listening? Any specific piece of advice you would like to give them to nurture entrepreneurship?
Advice is the worst thing that you have to give it to anybody, Senta.
Maybe a
You know
message.
what? And especially for any women. You know why? Because every woman by birth is got that special instinct to rightly understand the problem, to identify who's capable of what. And so I think that instincts are really strong in each woman, and we can easily identify the good and the bad better than the men, I should say. Here, I think most of us are women here, so I can confidently tell that women are the best in judging.
In fact, we have men also.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to say, but that's the truth.
Okay.
So it's just that one thing. Every child would want some time to be spent. And these days, children are very, very possessive. They are very, very possessive, be it with teachers, be it with anybody that they love. And gender, no. A boy student can be very, very close to her female teacher. But that doesn't mean that, that child is in a wrong notion. We need to understand that child and give that warmth and probably address to what that child's requirement is. So, you need not be a mother always or a sister and, put a shoe there. You can be a girlfriend there and address the situation, because children now need that warmth and love and caring, because that is where they lack. True. And you give them that, I think they can really do wonders, because after that studying and reading through the books and all, I think they can just do like this.
I know. Okay, Srimathy, now I think the vision is very clear, and I can see Space Kids India reaching places. But now, in this global pandemic, we are right now going through a global crisis. There are a lot of changes happening around us today due to this pandemic. And is there any tactics you're planning to keep pace with the changing times?
See, well, for Space Kids India, if you are asking me, Senta, see, we are more a hands-on company. Everything has to be done hands-on. Though, of course, we are coming up with, online teaching, because our core is research. And, but most of the parents across the globe are pushing us hard and they want us to teach children. Well, that's our duty, of course. But we thought after rocketry, we would do that. But now, more students and more parents keep sending requests. So we thought, okay, we will do that parallelly. So online, we are coming up with the educational diploma, a junior diploma, 1 year of hand-holding every child who enrolls with us in Sky Labs. And, we teach them electronics, and we teach them mechanics and coding, everything that is required for to be an engineer and then subsequently to be a good scientist. So all these core components we are kind of teaching the children. And apart from that, the successful launch of SpaceX, in spite of COVID, That's been the best launch of best positive news in this entire 3 months. So it is just how you want to see the pandemic. Is it you want to make it successful? Is there an opportunity in that? Yes, there are a lot of opportunities. It is how you seize the opportunity. That's it.
Amazing. In fact, one of this person saying, excellent, ma'am. Okay. Okay. Just to continue with the same COVID scenario, see, is there anything which is going to change in Space Kids India, which you would have never even thought about it if this COVID has not even come? Anything which is going to change in Space Kids India?
Yeah, because we were looking for an launch in August. This year is the centenary celebration for Vikram Sarabhai, the father of space, Indian space. So we wanted to pay a tribute, launching a satellite for him, Vikram Sat. And this COVID has actually put everything upside down. But now, what happened was staying at home for 3 months, we could start thinking of our rocketry mission, which we put it at a bay for another year.
Okay.
So that's taken the front seat now. So we started working on rocketry design and everything. So if the COVID was not, what do I say? It was not there at this part of the time, we would have launched, say in the next 2 months, we would have launched our satellite.
Wow. I'm sure you are going to launch it very soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I'm just taking a couple of questions from the audience as well. So, Dr. Sharmishta, I think I've already answered this, but she's asked, how are children selected in the team? How are they trained?
Well, I told you the Young Scientist India is a mark. I'm sorry, but there needs to be a metric wherein at least I get to know which child is interested in what, So once the children participate in that competition, that happens once a year in November. We announce the competition in the month of June, and November we have, this competition, and there we kind of handpick. You don't need to win the competition, but we need passionate, unique monkeys. That's what. So we select them, we give them a project, we handhold them, and then we see how they perform for 6 months and then absorb them in our team.
Wonderful. Ms. Naglata would like to know, ma'am, how do you make yourself positives? Any strategy you follow every day?
It's 5 minutes of crying. Go stand in front of the mirror. You look so bad. You laugh at yourself. You say that, you look so bad when you're crying. Don't cry. I just wash my face. I dab a lipstick and I just get going. I love dance. I love music. So even while cooking, I keep dancing. And I always feel proud of myself. I mean, anybody says anything, I listen to them. I make them small in front of my eyes, just like a Walt Disney character. And I feel happy within me, I feel if say, for example, like, my in-laws or my husband or somebody is like, saying something against me, and I have to listen to that. I stand in front of them and I'm like sad. But I, hearts of hearts, I imagine them as Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. And, I feel they are dancing, so that keeps me entertained even when they are scolding me. I don't care about that. Be it even outside anybody, I do the same. And then get back into the room and I say, Mathy, you're the best. Forget what they say. Come on. So that way I keep encouraging. I mean, I am still a kid. That's all I can say. I can never grow up. So when you've not grown up, the ego within you doesn't get hurt. So for me, it is like, I don't think of all this for even more than 5 minutes. So once you shrug all that, you are yourself. You are made beautiful. You are unique. Nobody can compare yourself to anybody else in the world. There is only one Srimathy, one Sentamarai, one Aparna, everybody is just one. So if you have that feeling within you, nobody can hurt you or put you down. You can just bounce back in 5 minutes.
And that's such a positive thought, Srimathy. Thank you so much for that. But there's one question from Naveen Krishnan who's asking, how could you manage your family with your professional commitment? Can you enlighten us?
Oh, it's the most difficult part, but you can see my eyes. The dark circles have come until my chin. I work for 20 hours in 24 hours. Keep the family happy, and the rest you can do. So it's not a very difficult task. On the dais, I go speak about women liberation and women everything, I run home and I just undress and get into the kitchen immediately. As long as you don't have self-pity that you're working hard, it is your family after all. So, they have the right to say anything to you. Don't feel bad about anything. Don't have that guilt feeling that, probably you messed out on something. You are a human being, be natural, mistakes are bound to happen. So be it. But I love to cook. And I think I reached my man's heart through that cooking. I've spoiled my people with that cooking. And, you won't believe people come home even at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night, and I'm smiling and cooking. So all these small nuggets have put me on top. That's where my husband, my daughter feels, in spite of she doing so much, you won't believe, Santa, especially when this satellite we were launching 2019 Shankranti time, I made pongal like 8 kilos, 9 kilos. We have so many people to be distributed. So one hand I have the phone, one hand I'm doing pongal. So people are seeing at home, this girl is not giving up the tradition and she is also doing this. So now they have succumbed. My husband, you won't believe, he's bragging, he's telling every newly wedded couple, please ask your wife to work. Please tell her to pursue her career. Don't put a barrier to anything. I'm like, wow.
He's such a beautiful soul. I know him so well. Say sky is not the limit for you. In fact, one of the participants is also saying the same. Sky is the limit. Okay, so Miss Veronica, she's asking, after students are shortlisted, how do the students continue with their regular studies?
See, because we had back-to-back projects, our children, our first batch of team who exists now, they actually didn't go to the colleges and schools. They got ODs and they were working continuously on these projects. Here, my students, they are all average students who score only about 50% to 60%, but they are on the Forbes magazine. So parents have to decide if you want 1,200 to 1,100 or you want your child to be outstanding and knowledgeable. Knowledge is something different and education is something different. So my kids are more knowledgeable. So that knowledge they get through hands-on experience. So they've not really gone into the regular stream of education, but everybody is passed out. I mean, 6 of them passed out. 1 of them is in the final year writing the final exams. So they don't go to colleges, but they manage to study from home.
That's more important because you're teaching them the life more than the...
In fact, I call them the Panchapandavas. Okay. Each one has got that kind of a quality, and that's how the team is built. One is, completely knowledgeable here. One is to do physical work. One is to contain the team completely. So that kind of a team ours is the Panchapandavas.
Okay. We got you back.
I'm not able to hear you, Santa. I'm not able to hear you.
We are back.
Hi, Santa. Hi, Santa. I'm not able to hear you.
Is it okay now? Is it okay now?
Yeah, now I'm able to hear. Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yes,
perfect,
yes.
Perfect. Yeah. Technology at times it happens. Okay, so you're the right person to answer this. There is one basic, because you wear multiple hats, and this Dr. Shankar Narayan was asking how to manage work-life balance.
Keep the smile, however shameless you are, keep the smile going. And, be as shameless as possible. Tell sorry as many times as possible. Don't carry anything in your heart. Keep everything very light. And, life is you're just born once, one life. So enjoy this life to the optimum. Do everything that, your heart says that you are correct. If you feel you are correct, please go ahead and do it. And you will prove, and many people will follow you. So never deter, never fear, never give up anything for anybody. So you can manage both.
That's such a beautiful thought, Srimati. Thank you so much for that. I think one last question from Hema Shri. She's asking, ma'am, I'm Hema Shri. I'm an engineering student. Can you suggest few tips for managing our time, as it helps a lot in this pandemic situation?
You've got a whole, hi Hemashri, how are you? You've got a whole lot of time. I know engineering students are crazy, especially your fluid mechanics and solid mechanics take your brains off. I understand. But do one thing, don't completely sit in your books. Do Google and get information that will give you beyond textbooks, which will give you actually a happiness to study the subject more than sitting and studying through your books. And collect a few friends and do things hands-on, experiment hands-on, and then put a schedule and follow the schedule. But if you miss the schedule for a day or two, don't worry, have a chocolate and restart again.
Okay, the next question, you're going to love it, Shri. Ma'am, out of curiosity, have your kids been part?
Lost you. Lost you, Santa, lost you.
There's some technical issues now.
Santa, I lost you.
Okay, I think so. We have missed her.
Yeah, Miss Santa. So
Did
you get to hear the question,
We have exceeded
Renuka?
the time. It's 5:03 now.
I know, time to go,
No,
time to wrap up.
I didn't get to hear her question. Really, ma'am, it was really bubbling and very energetic responses to all our queries. And I think so we are all recharged with positive energy, as everybody said, and sky is your limit. So we are very grateful and thankful to you, and we wish you all the very best for more laurels and honor. Uh, we will now invite Ms. Veena Murli to brief us about our tomorrow's session and propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Renuka. Thank you so much for having me here. And all of you, I hope I've not bored you guys. You had a good 1 hour. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of appreciation, ma'am. Yes, there's a lot of appreciation in the comment box. Thank you.
Thank you, Renu ma'am.
Yes, over to
today. Thank you, Renu ma'am. Today, actually, after hearing Dr. Srimathy KESAN, what comes to my mind is a very famous quote by Stephen Hawking. Look up at the stars, not down at your feet. Ma'am, you have literally made it happen. You have made an almost impossible wish possible for many. And you have shown us that even sky is not the limit. From giving the right exposure to the students at an early age to serving the society on a large scale, you just have to name it and you have done it all, breaking all the conventional barriers. And true to the title of the book by the missile man of India, the great visionary Abdul Kalam, through your words, you have ignited the minds of all of us today to dream big, live the dream, and contribute to the society in as much bigger way as possible. I'm sure we all are going back today with unlimited inspiration. A very big thank you from all of us for being with us today, taking us through your journey, sharing your dreams and aspirations. You truly are our pride. And we take this opportunity to congratulate you on all your achievements and wish you the best for your future endeavors. Thank you once again, ma'am. Thank you to all the participants. Meet you all again tomorrow at 4 p.m. to hear world's first image scientist, Dr. Kuljit Uttal. I'm sure it is going to be yet another memorable evening. Thank you all once again.
Oh, you're back, Santa. Hi.
I am back. I'm not there. Okay, so yeah, so thank you so much for a lovely session. It was very interesting and very impressive. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the honor.
Okay, so we'll catch up soon. If there is any
hello, Santa Marai.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Today's session was awesome. This is Susha Priya.
Usha Priya ma'am,
Yes, yes. Yeah. I was just listening to her. Excellent. Hello, Dr. Srimathi. Awesome.
Hello, Mrs. Thank you,
I,
Mrs. Usha.
thank you. I should thank you. Excellent session. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Shri. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.